Before we get too far into this review, I would like to make a personal plea to the Ford Motor Company. Stick a 5-liter under the hood. I think you could get away with charging 6 figures if you just dump the 5-liter under the hood. I honest to God believe that. I believe you might even be able to get to 125, possibly if you do it all right up, supercharged and all that, possibly even 150 grand if it's bad enough. I just want to get that out the way. Oh yeah, I forgot. I don't know what the replacement for it would be. I really don't, but what? We're still screwing antennas into fenders and stuff? I mean, can't they run it through the windshield or something? I don't know. So a couple of years ago, Ford revamped the Bronco. They brought it out of retirement to compete with the Wrangler. The Wrangler for a long time had a complete entire playing field to itself. It really did. I mean, it is an SUV just like a 4Runner and other things like that, but the Pathfinder got more minivan-ish, so the 4Runner is really the only thing it had. So Ford decided to dust off an old nameplate and bring it back. Well, that wasn't enough, because then Jeep shoehorned a V8, the Scat Pack V8 under the hood of a Jeep, so Ford had to answer the call yet again. So Ford, because they will not put a V8 between the fender wells of that, I don't know why. It has room. I believe it could fit. I think people would pay 6 figures for it with a 5-liter under the hood and supercharged. I think you're easily looking at 125. The Raptor R pickup truck, the F-150, the big bad Raptor R, that dude's 113, and every dealer I know charges an upcharge on that. You ain't getting it for 113. But anyway, so the Ford Raptor. So we got a 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 under the hood, putting out about, 418 horsepower and 440 pound-feet of torque. It is the top of the line in Bronco, but when you compare it to the 392 Wrangler, the power's a little down. The 392 Wrangler does 470 on horsepower and torque. So we're 52 off on horsepower and 30 down on pound-foot of torque. Now you can't get a tune for it. Obviously, it is a turbo engine, and turbo engines love tunes, right? Anyway, I don't want to get into that because we're not talking about that. 0 to 60 in a Raptor is 5.6 seconds. I don't know what 0 to 100 is. I don't want to be in it at 100 miles an hour. I'm sure it will do it. I mean, when the little thing spools up, it goes to 140. But like I said, I don't want to be in it at 140 miles an hour. All right, there's a bunch of whole different reasons as to why it's fantastic. First of all, it has Fox suspension. And in case you've been living on the moon for the last 300 years, Fox suspension, that's the whole deal. They do dirt bikes. At least that's the first time I ever saw them when I was a kid, the little emblem, the little Fox. Anyway, it's got that kind of suspension underneath it. Anyway. All right, so we've got 10-speed automatic transmission. Of course, you do every single Ford under the hood. Underneath the sun has the 10-speed automatic. We got all the GOAT modes. Remember, go over anything modes. We've got plenty of GOATs listed there. We got a 4.7-liter axle out back. All right, and I don't want I should have looked at the gear ratio up the front. I'm gonna let y'all down on that. I don't know. We got 37-inch mud grip tires on there, big, huge honking tires. And obviously, now remember this, and I always forget to tell people this, because it needs to be bigger. That some gun needs at least 40s on it or whatever. On off-road vehicles, it does look better and beefy, or Tonka truck and all that stuff, but remember, you lose performance that way. If you're going to start getting bigger with lifts and wheels and tires and stuff, you either have to start compensating for some power via a tune, bigger exhaust, whatever, downpipe, I don't know all the stuff that you do, but you got to start putting some power or you're going to start losing some performance. That's just the way that goes. Before we get into the interior, let me finish off the way that I'd like to say this. The 396 Wrangler, 0 to 60 in a little over 4 seconds. Okay, so it's over a second, probably a second and a half faster to 60 than the Bronco. The Bronco might start picking up some pace as it starts going up, but that V8's going to start hitting stride either. I'll put the quarter-mile numbers in there just because I'd like to know myself. The Bronco is way more refined than the Jeep. I'm not knocking the Jeep. I love the Jeep. I am a fellow Mopar owner myself, so it was good to get behind the wheel and see normal everyday controls that I'm used to. But the Bronco rode a lot better. The suspension, it was quieter inside. So anyway, keep that in mind. Okay, gas mileage. What? Let's not even, I'll go over 15 in the city and 16 on the highway. I don't really think that you're going to get that. I think you're probably going to be looking at something more like 12, 10 to 14 in the real world. Gas mileage is not its strong suit. All right. This is an off-road vehicle. So you've got two different ways you can go with the interior. Okay. You can go full on, leather and suede seats and power seats and all of that, or you can go a whole different way and do manual seats and all of that. Remember, this thing's designed to be the ultimate Bronco off-road. So if there's ever a hint of you ripping the doors off and gonna go mudding and all that, I'd leave that's a $3,000 option to put those leather trimmed suede seats. I'd leave that off if you're going to do a lot of off-roading. Get the leather ones so that way you can just wipe them off, because those suede, they're gorgeous, but it might cost you a little bit extra money in stain guard. Okay, you got a 10-speaker B&O sound system goings on. The sound system's pretty good. Speaking of the sound system, in Jeeps, the sound bar, okay? The sound bar goes between the driver and the passenger seat and the back passengers, and it goes right over here over the head. In Broncos, it goes to the back. All right, the sound bar is actually over the cargo compartment. So that means that the whole entire center part is open. You don't have anything. So remember, you got a roll bar going on in case that weakens it. No. There's a roll bar that goes all the way around it, so it's good. So you're going to get more sky view with the Bronco compared to the Wrangler. That's just straight. Also, something else, 12-inch big-time screen right there in the center with the Bronco. The camera modes, you've got a couple different camera modes. I don't think I went through the camera modes in here, and I apologize. But you've got some 3-ways up front, the single, and then also out the back. And I believe you can also get them coming off the mirrors, too. We've talked about all the really good stuff and the fun stuff, but now we got to pay for this thing. It's not cheap. The cheapest one I have seen is $91,000. The most expensive one I've seen is $99,000. You got to pay to play. This is the top of the line. In case that's a lot to pay to play. I heard that. It is a lot. I would like to say one small little comment. Maybe look for one used. I know that might not be what some people would want to hear, and that goes for anything. If you can't afford your dream car brand new, I know, you ever seen the movie Christine? Okay, there's only one smell that's better than a new car smell. You know, when you open up that car, the car door of a new car, and that aroma, there's only one smell that's better. And it kind of just depends on what time of the month it is if the smell's better. But anyway, sorry. If you can forego that smell, you can save a lot of the money.